Hello readers and writers, I am MJ, and today we're going to be talking about my May TBR. So, May is a very special month, at least for me, because it's my birthday month. And even though my birthday doesn't fall until the very last day of the month, I wanted to do something special for my TBR. So I was trying to come up with various ideas or themes, and then Break Even Books posted his video announcing the third year of the May the 4th Be With You readathon. Now, it's been a long time since I have done a readathon. I think actually the last one may have been May the 4th Be With You, the first year that he did it, when I participated. And since then, I haven't really done TBRs because so much of my time has been focusing on writing. And I just didn't feel like I could, stick to a readathon TBR. So I decided I wanted to do something fun this year, and so I am going to be participating in his readathon again. The nice thing about the way Eric builds readathon is that you can read as little or as much as you want and participate, so it's very flexible. So I feel I really appreciate that, so that I don't feel like I fell. So, May the 4th be with you. Wow, this is a Star Wars themed readathon. So MJ, why do you have a bunch of Star Trek stuff behind you, including a Star Trek hoodie? Well, because I just couldn't participate without representing Star Trek, because I'm problematic like that. I love Star Trek, and I've never really gotten into the Star Wars genre. No slack on it. There's people that enjoy both. There's people that enjoy one. But definitely I'm solidly in the Star Trek fandom. So I like the May the 4th Be With You readathon because it's one of the very few science fiction based readathons out there. But I do tend to put my own twist to it and represent the Star Trek fandom. And that is definitely going to be seen in my TBR as well. So with this readathon, I'm not going to go into the rules or anything like that. You can find those out by watching Eric's video, which I will link below. But you can choose whether you are going to be a Jedi, so the light side, or a Sith, so the dark side. And then there's also neutral prompts that you can choose either way. I am going to be a Jedi. I stuck with the Jedi prompts because I'm boring like that, and because they just fit with the books that I wanted to read. Before you pick a Jedi, you pick the race that you want to do when you read a book for that prompt, and so I have decided to be a clone. The prompt for a clone is to read a science fiction book. So this one, very easy for me. I have picked Star Trek Picard Second Self. So this is the newest Star Trek Picard book, the only one I haven't read, and it was going to be on my TBR for this month anyways, and so it is the perfect science fiction book to pick. Now getting into the Jedi prompts, the first prompt is to read a non-fiction book, and going with my science fiction bent genre, I have decided to read Still Just a Geek by Will Wheaton. So I recently picked this up. It is an autobiography that has then been annotated by Will Wheaton. I have mad respect for Will Wheaton as a person. Even if you look at the newest videos he's put out for Star Trek Picard, you can see him wearing a shirt saying "Protect Trans Kids," and I really, really respect that he sticks up for everyone, because he is one of the nerds, and he I don't know, he represents the entire community in a way that he is part of the Star Trek, but then he's also part of the fandom. And so I have mad respect for how real he comes across as a person, but also how he sticks up for causes that he doesn't have to, but he vocally does. And so I definitely want to read Still Just a Geek, and so it is going to be my nonfiction pick for May. The next prompt is to read a book that is similar to another book that you've read. So I've interpreted this as to read a sequel. Now every month on my TBR I do try to read at least one book in a sequel so that I can make sure I'm continuing on in series. In April I listened to the audiobook, a reread of The Library of the Dead, and so in May I want to read the sequel, Our Lady of Mysterious Elements. And this is an urban fantasy. The main character is like 15, 14 years old, but it's still an adult urban fantasy just with a young main character. And it's set in Scotland, and it's just like got ghost paranormal vibes and a post-apocalyptic world, and it's just a great read, and so I'm really excited to continue on with the second book in the sequel. Now, the next prompt is to read a book with nature on the cover, and I was really excited because this month I wanted to read The Trials of Cooley. So this is the second book in the series by M.R. Carey, and I read the first book of this a while ago and adore it, and then I picked up the second book, the audiobook, through the library, and we got like halfway through and it was due, and I never picked it back up, mostly just because my TBR is just way too long. But I love this book and I love this series, and so I definitely want to prioritize like reading it again, especially since I've read his newest book that I believe came out in March. I got it through an ARC through NetGalley and adore it. I definitely love their writing style, and it's moving up to be a favorite author of mine. So at that point I need to finish the books that I already own. So The Trials of Cooley, I'm going to be starting from the beginning just because even though I feel like I remember it very well, it's been too long for me to feel like I want to start again where I left off, so I'm gonna pick this one up from the start. The next prompt is to read a book under 275 pages, and I'm very excited for this prompt also because when I participated in the Trans Rights Readathon, I finally picked up the first book by Nino Capri, and I'm probably saying that wrong, and I loved it. I felt really bad for taking so long to pick it up. But basically it is about a wormholes opening up in a store that is similar to IKEA, and the main characters are a queer couple. One is non-binary, and they go out on an adventure in like these alternate worlds. And I adored the book, and so I've really wanted to pick this one up this month, but since I didn't put it on my TBR, I felt guilty every time I went to, so now I can put it on my May TBR, and it is a short volume, so it definitely fulfills this prompt. So the next prompt is to read a borrowed book, and I'm kind of taking liberty with this prompt because I'm going to pick Iron Widow. And as you can see, I own the book, but I did borrow the audiobook from the library. So it's one of the books that I'm trying to get through some of my backlog of my TBR by allowing myself to listen to the audiobook. And so the audiobook for this came due, and I want to read it before it goes on the incredibly long wait list. So I am using this for a book that you borrowed, which may be flubbing the rules a little bit, but I figure it's okay. And I'm very excited to finally pick this up because I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. This is also a book that my kid got me for Christmas, so I'm excited to read it. Now, there are additional prompts for May the 4th Be With You Readathon. You can go even further and get like weapons and side characters or companions, I think. And I don't think I'm going to be doing that. It's not that I necessarily won't be reading more books. It's just I need some more flexibility in what I'm reading, so I'm going to stick to the core of the readathon for my prompts. And then I guess I'll see at the end if any of the other books I read fit into the other prompts and see how it goes. But I'm going to focus in on these. That being said, there are 2 additional books that I am going to add to my TBR to kind of fulfill what I do every month in a TBR. So, since 2023 is the year of Sanderson, I have been reading a Sanderson book each month. And so I started the 3rd book in the Mistborn series, and I'm going to be continuing on with that. I do own the physical copy of it, but there was an accident and it is completely stained now, so I'm not showing it to y'all. I still am going to be reading it because I have hope that at some point I'm going to find a special edition of the Mistborn trilogy, and then and only then will I repurchase it, because until then the copy I have is good enough, even though it's not good enough for me to show you all. And then the last book is, each month I am trying to read at least one indie book. And indie book I'm reading for this month is The Last Sun. And it has 2 covers. This is the special edition cover by Rainbow Crate, and this is the original cover. The book is by Katie Edwards. So I really know nothing about this book except that it was one of the first special editions that Rainbow Crate put out, and I wanted to support them, and so I purchased it. I heard really good things about it, so I'm hoping I enjoy it. I hope I don't regret that I bought it, because I thought there was going to be a little bit more modifications than just a special edition cover. But it is what it is, and now I have the books, and so I'm going to start reading them. There's also some indie books that I'm in the middle of that I need to finish, and I'm hoping in May that I will give you an update on my indie reading. So that is my May 2023 TBR. Are you going to be participating in the May the 4th Be With You readathon, or any other readathons? Anything special you want to do for May, and happy my birthday month, because, I'm gonna go there. So, as always, keep writing, keep reading, and until next time.